I want to welcome everyone to the Smart Practices in Smart Manufacturing in the Industrial AI Era. My name is Craig Resnick with ARC. Only because we have 4 speakers, I'm going to deliver a very quick introductory presentation. Then we have 4 great speakers who will follow me, and then we'll bring up a panel and try to get you out of here on time so we could get to casino night. But the purpose of this session really is really obviously to try to define what smart manufacturing is, what are some of the best practices, what are some of the tools, and try to talk about some 4 different cases of how companies have kind of making progress in this, in certainly in this digital transformation, but also in taking into account if AI has an effect on some of these solutions. So we'll talk about some of the technologies that these companies are using, and try to talk about maybe some of the technical and cultural challenges that the companies have. Most of this presentation is actually really data from a study that a survey that we did of about 600 end users. And, we asked the question of, what priorities is your organization, what's your vision, strategy, and roadmap? And we gave them, probably 20 some odd selections to pick from and asked them to pick, to pick the top 3. And, excellence and quality and products and services was number 1. And then operational excellence, whether it be for supply chain, whether it be financial, production challenges. But those were by far the top choices, based on talking about users with their smart manufacturing strategies. We asked them as far as, what are some of the challenges that they have, obviously complex processes and processes that are getting more complex. How do we address issues of consistency? How do we deal with increasing government regulations, based on which vertical industry we're in? How are we addressing, cost issues, in a post, inflationary environment, but what are we doing to kind of keep costs down? The challenges, of course, of things like supply chain, and how will we manage in the future, based on what may ultimately happen with things like tariffs, and how are we being agile and responsive enough based on the needs of the customers? And does AI have a role in helping solve some of these challenges? We asked them as far as the drivers for some of these investments. How do these investments get approved? And the top ones was growth. Both internal, growth domestically, but also looking at different markets, different geographies. Are we investing enough that we have the innovation element to the products? And then obviously the area of energy transition and sustainability, decarbonization. And so that's obviously some of the drivers that are behind some of these smart manufacturing investments. And then, of course, to deal with some of these challenges, we're talking about using things for tools, whether it be digital twin, augmented reality, virtual reality, analytics, obviously artificial intelligence, machine learning, using things like simulation technology, obviously is part with the digital twin, and helping to do things like performance validation and operator training, and really advanced it's try to reduce product variability, improve performance, and really try to reduce the ultimate problem, which would be unscheduled downtime, and minimize risk. Then we ask as far as what do we see as some of the the technologies that are having an impact today. Like cloud, analytics, 3G, IoT, and sustainability. But then what happens is we ask the question to say, look 3 years from now and forecast, what would this list look like in 3 years? And that's when things like digital twin and robotics and industrial metaverse and next generation security really will begin to rise as well. So that's something that people are talking about now, planning. Some people have implemented, but they do expect over the next few years those will really come up in the rankings. And then of course, what's the technology that's going to have the biggest impact from today over the next 5 years? And I think obviously with all the hype regarding AI, that was obviously the clear winner. Just ahead of cloud and clean energy and robotics. And when we say robotics, that also includes things like AGVs, AMRs, and using that for a lot of material handling on the factory floor. Then we asked as far as where is some of this money coming from? Who's actually funding a lot of the smart manufacturing initiatives? And IT budgets seem to seem to win by a wide margin. So even if it's something with companies, based on where they are in their own IT OT convergence, for example, but IT seems to be the area where the funding, where it seems to be providing a lot of the funding. And what are the results that they're looking to achieve is get that new, is obviously attract a new workforce, as many of the baby boomers are retiring, and bringing new people into that workforce, better collaboration tools to allow this new, less experienced workforce work together and collaborate better and give them the right tools. And because of that lack of experience, reduce complexity. And that's certainly a big area where AI can be of some help to kind of help with that, with the workers that don't have quite the experience that the retired workers had. So what we're going to do now is we're going to introduce our first speaker, and we'll go through the 4 speakers and then follow that up with a panel session. So my first speaker is Abraham El Siad from Celanese, and if you want to come up right now, we'll get started.